Well, good afternoon. If you have looked at your email today, you have no doubt seen the one from our executive director talking about how today is Founders Day. Founders Day, as far as the Salvation Army is concerned, it was this day in 1865 that William and Catherine Booth began their work as the Salvation Army. And they were working with people in poverty, people with addiction issues, people that probably had mental health issues, basically the same people that we work with here on a regular basis. This morning in my devotional time with God, I read a devotional that spoke about the fact that today was Founders Day and gave a very interesting quote by Catherine Booth. I believe it was from her biography. And the quote was, "If we are to better the future, we must disturb the present." And I believe Catherine Booth's point in all of this is if we want to see these people who are in poverty do better and we want a better future for them and the world around us, we need to do something about the present. We need to disturb what's going wrong with the present. And that was an interesting thought and it resonated with me, but perhaps it resonated with me for a different reason. Because I think the present that needed to be disturbed, as far as I was concerned, is my own life. It's so easy as we walk about the center doing our job every day to become very disenfranchised and, shall we say, desensitized and calloused towards the suffering and the pain and the despair and the lives that are being basically thrown away each day. And we struggle to change people's lives and to help them, and some get help, but very many end up in the same cycle of poverty and addiction and so on and so forth again and again and again. And so it becomes hard to stay in this place of compassion, this place of grace and mercy. So I began to ask God this morning in my own heart, God, will you disturb my present? Will you change the way that I look at things so that I can come from a place of grace and mercy and compassion each day? This is the type of thing that needs to be disturbed if we're to see a better future. Yes, our system needs to change. If there's anything that I can say has been very clear to me during this COVID-19 thing, is that there are some major holes in the system. And they're glaring holes. And there is people who are falling through the cracks because they can't get their regular resources that were available beforehand. And they were hard enough for them to find that stuff then. But you and I, as co-laborers with Christ at the Salvation Army Center of Hope, we have an opportunity every day to disturb the present in both our own lives and in the lives of those around us. Jesus in Matthew 25 talks about his return, and this is this idea that at the end of all things, Jesus will return to set all things right. And he says this, when the Son of Man comes in glory and all the angels with him, then he will sit on his glorious throne. Before him will be gathered all the nations, and he will separate people from one from another as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. And he will place the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me. Then the righteous will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? And when did we see you a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick or in prison and visit you? And the king will answer, truly I say to you, as you did this to one of the least of my brothers, you did it to me. And as I think about what Catherine Booth said, each time that we do one little act of mercy for someone who's suffering, we have disturbed the present, and we have set them on a different path for a better future. The Apostle James wrote quite a few years later in a letter that he wrote to the church, He said, religion that our God accepts as pure and faultless is this: to look after orphans and widows in their distress and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. The orphans and the widows, I mean, literally, we could look after orphans and widows, and I think that's there. That's part of what James is getting at. But ultimately, it's about looking after those who are in need. Orphans and widows are in need, but so are all the people that we minister to here on a regular basis. If we want to see their futures changed, we need to allow God to disturb our present by showing us where we become calloused and hard, and where we just don't care the same way we did, where we don't have the same passion that we did when we came in. So that needs to happen first. And when God does that, as we allow him to do that, we will be able to more clearly and righteously operate in mercy and in grace and compassion. And in doing so, we disturb the present of another person and put them on a trajectory to a better future. Where do you stand today? Are you calloused? Are you burnt out? Maybe it's time for you to have the same type of experience I did this morning, which was to go before God and say, God, I need you to change my heart. I need you to disturb my present, that I might help others with a better future. If you do, just ask him, and he'll do it. And then allow each little act of mercy to be the thing that points people in a direction of a better future, that points them towards God, that points them towards an experience that would be different in their life than anything they've had before. Have a good day.